Now we've built our Krypton. It should have an interface, 2 wheels, 3, 5 or 7 sensors and a guide ball. Have you had any innovative design ideas to make it work better? Did you know your robot is very similar to the human body? Take a look at these pictures. Can you match part of the robot to a part of the human body? Have a think about what may have a similar function. What do you think is the brain of the robot? It's the interface. This is what controls our robot. What do you think are the muscles of the robot? It's the motors. What do you think is the legs of our robot? If you chose the wheels, you are correct. What are the eyes of the robot? These are the sensors. They look at the surroundings, such as if there is a black line or not. What is the skeleton of the robot? It's the blocks, bases and pieces that form our robot. Lastly, what are the neuron of our robot? It's the wires. What are neurons? They are nerve cells that carry electrical messages around your body. Let's have a look at Ableck's chart. I'm showing you the computer version. If you have the app, it will look very similar to this, but some of the words may be different. When you open the main program, the page will look like this. This is the main coding area. Along the left is the tabs for the coding blocks. Along the top, you have the Krypton type. If you're not sure what Krypton you have, check your box. This red broken chain tells you that the robot is not connected to our laptop. This means we won't be able to download any code. This orange C, that shows you C programming. Have a look as you start coding. Can you try to remember what the blocks look like in C programming? And this green down arrow is your download button. This downloads your code to the interface for you to test it. Now we have our program set up. Let's go through how to get our robot line following. Can you find the blocks as I'm explaining them? Go to the tracing tab on the left. The first block you will always need when you want your robot to follow a line is the initialize block. Do you know why we use initialize? Our robots are not actually very clever. They do not even know they are a robot. They might think they are a cat, a dog, a rabbit, so we have to tell them that they are a robot. We do this with the initialize block. We tell them what motors they have for their wheels, where they are plugged into, and the power they need. You even need to tell them how many sensors they have and where they are plugged into. Open up your initialize block, or in your logbook, open the page with a blank initialize. We're going to set it up for your robot. Have a look at the motors. Are they big or small? Small motors are grey cuboids, whereas big motors have a red circle on them. My robot has 2 small motors. My left motor is plugged into port A, and my right motor is plugged into port B. I want to keep my left motor power as 1, but because I've used a cog system for my wheels, this is only if you have small motors. They are reflections of each other. This means I need my right motor to have a power of -1. Otherwise, it will just keep going in circles. I now need to tell my robot the number of sensors it has. My robot has 5. I make sure they are numbered correctly by looking at my robot. My left sensor is plugged into port 1. My second one is plugged into port 2. My middle sensor is plugged into port 3. My next sensor is plugged into port 4. And my right sensor is plugged into port 5. If you have 3 sensors, you need to make sure that your leftmost sensor is port 1, your middle sensor is port 2, and your right sensor is port 3. Now, we can't have any ports that are the same, so we pick a number where there's nothing plugged into them. So 6. This is what it will look like if you have 3 sensors. The next block we use is an environment collection. This tells our robot whether it is looking for a black line on a white background or a white line on a black background. If you're using a WER map, it is usually a black line on a white background. The next block in our tracing tab is the intersection tracing. What does this do? This makes the robot follow a black line until it reaches an intersection. An intersection is another word for a crossroads. This is where the robot can either go left, right, forwards. It has to make a decision. Here we can change the side that the crossroads is on. Is it on the robot's left or right-hand side? We choose the robot's speed. A good speed is always about 40. We can choose how many loops. A loop is the number of crossroads. The first crossroad a robot will meet is loop 1. The second is loop 2. The third is loop 3. And we usually put a crossing time of 0.3. This is so our robot moves slightly past the crossing so it can turn better. And we always want our robot to stop after the end. Our next block is the scheduled tracing. This makes the robot follow a black line for a set amount of time. Here we can choose our speed. Again, we like the speed 40. And we can choose our time. This will depend on how far you want the robot to go. And we want it to stop after the end. Why might we use a scheduled tracing? Do you know? A scheduled tracing is great to use when you want the robot to stop at the end of a line. If there's no crossroads at the end of the line and we use an intersection tracing, it will just move off the mat and keep trying to find a black line. The next block we use quite often is turn. This could be called swerving if you are using the app. We choose our speed of our left motor and our right motor. If we want a robot to turn, one of our motors must be less than the other. Stand up and imagine you've got really sticky feet. That means they can't move up off of the ground. They can only slide around on it. Start turning left in a circle. Which foot goes forwards and which foot goes backwards? Did you notice that your left foot goes backwards when you are turning left? This means our left motor speed should be minus. We choose minus 35 and our right foot will go forwards. So our right motor speed is positive. This is 35. If we wanted to turn right, it would be the other way around. Again, we want our robot to stop after the end. The next block in the tracing tab that we like to use is the start motor. What does the start motor do? It turns the motors on for a set amount of time at a set speed. It doesn't matter if it is following a black line or not. You choose the speed of your motors. Again, you can make your robot turn this way. I'm just going to go forward. So I choose 40 and a right motor speed of 40. So it's going forward straight. And then I can choose the time that my motors are turned on for. Let's say 2 seconds. So my robot will move forwards at speed 40 for 2 seconds and then stop. I've set you some challenges. Using the tracing blocks that you've just learned, can you complete these challenges on the Internet of Everything map? The first challenge is to code the robot to leave the box using a start motor. To do this, you will need 3 different blocks. Do you remember what the first one that we always use is? It's the initialize. Do you remember what the second block we always use is? It's the environment gathering. And the third block is a start motor. We always use a start motor to get out of the box when we are working on a map like this. Do you know why? Have a look at the box where you start. It's surrounded by a black line. If we didn't use a start motor and we just used an intersection tracing or a scheduled tracing, our robot would begin to go around the box following that line, and it would go absolutely crazy. So we use a start motor to get out of it. Have a think about the time we want to use and the speed. Your challenge 2 is to code the robot to stop at the first intersection using intersection tracing. Can you see where the first intersection is? Remember, it's a crossroads. It's here. Do you see? We have it. The robot has to make a decision whether to go forwards or left. And your third challenge is to code the robot to get to position 6. You will have to use a combination of start motors, intersection tracing, swerving or turns, and schedule tracing. Here is my code to get to position 6. I start off with my initialize block. Remember, we are telling our robot it's a robot. I'm using small motors for mine. My left motor is plugged into port A and has a power of 1. My right motor is plugged into port B and it has a power of -1. I'm using 5 sensors. And my left is plugged into port 1. Then it's port 2. The middle is port 3. Then it is port 4. And my right sensor is plugged into port 5. I'm next going to change the threshold offset. This is the amount of light that is let into the sensors. If your room is very bright and there's lots of sunlight, you want a lower threshold offset. If your room is quite dark and has lots of shadows, you want this to be higher. My room has quite a lot of shadows, so I'm going to change this to 0.8. I'm then going to add an environment collection block, making sure that it's black on white, not white on black. I'm going to add a delay in of 30 seconds. This is to allow me to calibrate my sensors using the environment collection before the robot moves on to the next part of the code. I then am going to complete challenge 1 by adding a start motor block. I only want to move out of the box, so I put both my speeds at 40 as I want it to go straight forward, and I have a delay time of 0.5. Next, for challenge 2, I want my robot to stop at the first intersection. So I use an intersection tracing block, and my intersection's on the left-hand side. I want my speed to be 40, my loop to be 1, as it's the first intersection. I add a cross time of 0.3 to get my sensors past the intersection so it can move on to the next block. I want it to always stop after end. My third challenge is to get to position 6. I can do this 2 ways. I can either change the loop time on my first intersection tracing to 2, so that my robot stops on the second intersection, the one next to 6. Or I could keep it at 1 and add another intersection tracing block with 1 loop. So again, I change my speed to 40, loop 1, and a cross time of 0.3, and stopping after the end. I then want my robot to turn. So I add a turn block. or swerving if you're using the app. Do you remember how we make our robot turn? We're turning left, so my left motor speed should be -35, and my right motor speed should be 35. We want it to stop after end. And my final block is going to be the scheduled tracing. This is because there's no crossroads or intersection at the end of the line, so my robot would leave the map if I didn't use a scheduled tracing. I'm going to use tracing speed of 40 and a tracing time of 2 seconds. Again, stopping at end. I am now going to download this code to my robot. Let's test it.